Hi everybody. Today you're going to learn about the surface area of a sphere formula. And first thing you should have done is watched the video about the orange peel. So do that now. You can watch it on like 2 times the speed and you'll get the gist right away. But it's kind of interesting. So what you should have noticed was that it took by unpeeling the orange, it filled 4 circles, which means the surface area of a sphere is 4 times the area of the circle using the radius of the sphere, so 4 pi r squared. So that can go in your vocab list. So we have volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, and the surface area is 4 pi r squared. So I would just have like a little cheat sheet with all these formulas because they can get a little confusing. So this I'm going to show you, it's kind of a proof of why it's 4 pi r squared. I think it's kind of interesting. So in this investigation, you'll visualize a sphere's surface covered by tiny shapes that are nearly flat. So the surface area of the sphere is the sum of the areas of all of what we're going to call the nearly polygons. So imagine these infinitely small polygons side by side next to each other. That makes just about a sphere. If you imagine radii connecting each of the vertices of the polygons to the center of the sphere, you are mentally dividing the volume of the sphere into many nearly pyramids. Each of the nearly polygons is the base of the pyramid, and the radius r is the height of the pyramid. So this picture kind of shows that. So the radius becomes the height of that nearly pyramid. So the volume of the sphere is the sum of the volumes of all the pyramids. Okay. So what we're saying here is divide the surface of the sphere into 1,000, it could be 1,000,000, infinite nearly polygons with areas B1, B2, B3, all the way up to B1,000. Then you can write the surface area of the sphere as S equals the sum of all of the bases. You can write that on your piece of paper. Now, the volume of the pyramid with base B1 is 1/3 area of the base times the height, which is the radius. So the total volume of the sphere, V, is the sum of the volumes of 1,000 pyramids or 1,000,000 pyramids or infinite pyramids. Okay, so that's this piece. All right. So that's the volume of the sphere. Okay. So what's the point? Well, you're going to see just a second. What common expression can you factor from each of the terms on the right side? Okay, so we're going to factor out the 1/3 r. So you have V equals 1/3 r, and then you have B1 plus B2 all the way up to B1,000,000 or 1,000. Okay, so that's equivalent. We just factored out the 1/3. But the volume of the sphere is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Rewrite your equation from step 2 by substituting 4/3 pi r cubed for V. And substituting for S, the sum of the areas of all the nearly polygons. Okay, so let's see what that means. So change the V to 4/3. I'm going to write it over here. 4/3 pi r cubed equals 1/3 r, and then the sum of all the bases. Now, that's just surface area of the sphere. Okay, now let's isolate surface area of sphere. So this is, right, sum of the bases is the surface area of the sphere. So that's S. So now let's get that by itself. So you can multiply both sides by 3. Here, I'll just do that here. Times 3 times 3. That cancels the 3's in the denominator. Good. Now divide both sides by r. Divide r, divide r. You get 4 pi r squared equals the surface area of the sphere. So there it is. I could ask you on a quiz or a test to explain that. So now let's use the new formula. Okay, so find the volume and surface area of each solid. Okay, so we'll start with the surface area. 4 pi r squared. So 4 pi 9 squared. Four pi 9 squared. And we'll just round it to the nearest 10th. Centimeters squared. In the Go formative, you don't write the units, you just round to the nearest 10th. And then the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed, so 4/3 pi 9 cubed. (3,053.6 centimeters cubed). Go ahead, do number 2. Pause the video. Okay, so 4 pi 0.9 squared is the surface area. 10.2 centimeters squared. Volume. 4/3 pi 0.9 cubed. 3.1 centimeters cubed. All right, now the last one here. So surface area, yes, it's a hemisphere, but you have to also include the circle on the bottom because that's a surface. So it's going to be 2 pi r squared because that's half of the sphere, but then you're adding in that circle plus another pi r squared. It's actually 3 pi r squared. Now, when you're doing this in your project in the homework, if you're doing some calculations in between, don't round till the end. So keep as many decimal places as you can until the end. So there it is, 1357.2. And then the volume is a hemisphere. 2/3 pi r cubed. So 2/3 pi 12 cubed. So 3619.1 centimeters cubed. Okay, so for your assignment, you're also going to have to bring in some of those old formulas. So remember, volume of a prism is BH. B is the area formula for the base. So then a cylinder is a circular prism, pi r squared, H for volume. And then surface area of a cylinder, remember, is the top and the bottom are circles. Sometimes you don't need the top or the bottom if you're just using the lateral part, but the top and the bottom are circles. And then you have the rectangle that you unpeel the label. So that would be, so the rectangle is circumference, 2 pi r times the height. For a cone, well, let's say a pyramid is 1/3 capital B, capital H, but a cone is a circle base, so it's 1/3 pi r squared H. Surface area of a cone is, okay, the bottom is a circle. The base is a circle. And then when you unpeel the rest of the cone, we had derived that it's pi RL, where L is the slant height. Now, what's the relationship between H and L? H is the perpendicular, and then L is the slant, but then R squared plus H squared equals L squared. It's the Pythagorean theorem. So keep that in mind. And then now you have the sphere, volume of a sphere, 4/3 pi r cubed, and surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. So it'll be good to have this kind of cheat sheet available as you're working on the homework. And then please check your answers. So the program will give you the answers when you submit. Go back and try to fix what you did wrong. If it's just a rounding thing, not a big deal. But if you're way off, then go back and check, and then you can ask for some extra help. So have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.